Hi guys, in this video we're going to have a look at simplifying expressions, but more specifically multiplying variables. So this one's probably the easiest out of the three simplifying expressions, because actually all we do is we just squish the variables together. Makes it quite nice and easy. So if I start with the first example here, so I've got 5 times a, all I'm going to do is just squish that together. So to simplify it, we just say that's 5a. Even if it's a negative, doesn't change anything. We have minus 3 times b, so we're just going to squish that together to simplify that to minus 3 b, like so. Okay, even if the variables are different, so if I have two different letters, two different variables, doesn't matter, we just still squish them together. So I'm still going to have cd. If I have a number and two different variables like this, again, same thing, just going to squish it all together. So 2EF, like so, is how we simplify that one. Changes slightly in this situation. So because I have two of the same variable, the same letter, so a G times a G, this is where we then change the power. So just as if you had, say, 2 times 2, you would say it's 2 squared, because you're timesing it by itself. No difference here. G times G, I'm timesing it by itself, so I say that's squared. So because there's two of them, and I'm timesing, more importantly, I'm not adding or subtracting here, I'm timesing, we change the power to 2 because there's two of them. Same thing here. I've got the same variable, I've got 3 h's, and I'm timesing them. I'm not adding or subtracting, I'm timesing them, which means I'm going to change the power. Okay, so I have h, and how many times do I times by h? I times it by itself 3 times, so we say that's h to the power of 3, or h cubed. Gets a little bit more interesting down here. These ones are nice and simple, we just squish them together, but I have two numbers here and two letters. The letters will be fine, but because I have two numbers, we need to be a little bit careful. Now, as you get more and more comfortable with this, you'll be able to do this quite quickly, but I'm going to show you a method now that means that you'll never make a mistake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this all out in exactly what it means. Well, 2a just means 2 times a, just like we did here. Look, 5 times a, 5a. So 5a means 5 times a. And I'm not going to say times, I'm going to use a little dot. The little dot means times, okay? And you might have seen that if you've looked at the factorising video that I've already done. So 2a means 2 times a, remember times is the dot, times 3 times b. So I'm just going to write that out in its long-winded form, if you like. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to move all of the numbers to the left and all the letters in alphabetical order. So obviously the 2 can stay there, but the 3 then needs to come over. And then obviously I have my a times my b. Why is that useful? Well, it just makes it a little bit easier to see what to do. 2 times 3 is 6. And a times b, just like we had over here, we just squish that together to be AB. Now, of course, you can do that quickly in your head once you get used to the idea of what's going on, just by doing the numbers. So 2 times 3 is 6, and then you can do the variables a times b to get AB. But it's always useful to have a backup for more complicated ones, which we're going to have a look at later on. So here, again, I've got 4c. And I also have a C here, but it's part of this CD. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing here. I'm just going to break it up and show you what happens. So 4C is 4 times C times C times D. And again, I'm going to put all the numbers to the left and in an alphabetical order. Well, luckily for this one, it already is. The number's on the left, and this is already in alphabetical order. But it helps you see what to do. So obviously, I have my 4. And then c times c, I can simplify that just like I did over here. So I'm timesing it by itself, so that's going to be c squared. And of course then I have my times d. And of course the quick way to do that is to look at the numbers. We'll only have 4, so that's fine. How many c's am I timesing by themselves? So I've got c times a c, so I have the c squared and the d. But obviously it just helps potentially to write it out. Okay, let's have a look at this one then. Exactly the same sort of idea. I have an e here and an e cubed, but they're part of this, and this one's part of this. So if you're unsure, we can write it out. So 5 times e cubed, which means e times e times e times f. Okay, again, put all the numbers to the left and all the letters in alphabetical order. Luckily, it's already been done. So I have my 5, and then I can have a look at this. E times E times E times E. So I'm timesing it by itself 4 times, which means it's going to be e to the power of 4. And of course, I have the f at the end like that. And of course, a quick way would have been to see, right, multiply the numbers. We'll only have a 5. I have an 1e here, and I have 3 going on here. So how many do I have in total? I have 4. And of course, then you have the f. Or a lot of people do is they go, oh, I'll keep that as e cubed because that doesn't really count. But technically, that's e to the power of 1. So it would actually be 1e here, 3 e's here, which gives you e to the power of 4. But as I said, if you write it all out, it does make it a little bit easier to quickly see what's going on. So stepping it up then, a bit tricky. We've got numbers, we've got letters the same, and we've got different letters as well. So something like this, definitely worth taking the time to write it out and make sure you get it right. But I will also show you the quick way as well. So let's write this all out. So I've got 3 x squared, so x times x, and then I've got my little times y on the end, and I'm multiplying that by 6 times x, and then y cubed, so times it by itself 3 times, so y times y times y. This time I do need to rearrange it. I'm going to put all my all my numbers to the left first, so I have a 3 and a 6. So 3 times 6. You can cross them off when you've done them if you want, just to make sure. Then I'm going to do my x's, because that's what's next in the alphabet. So x times x. Done those two. And I've also got a sneaky one there, so make sure you go along and get all of them. And then, of course, I have my y's. So I've got the first one there, and then I have my 3 at the end here. So y times y times y. And then it's really nice and simple. We'll just have a look. So let's do the numbers. 3 times 6 is 18. X times x times x, there's 3 of them. So they're timesing it by itself 3 times, so x cubed. And then y is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's timesing it by itself 4 times. So again, the quick way to look at this would be do the numbers. So 3 times 6 is 18. Then have a look at the x's. I've got 2 there, and I've got 1 there. So in total I have 3, so it's to the power of 3. And I've got a y there, and then, so 1 y there, and then y cubed, so there's 3 of them there, so 1 add 3 will give me to the power of 4. Of course, this only can be done when you are multiplying, but that is the quick way. This is obviously if you get a bit stuck and you want to just write it all out and have a little look at what's going on, how to do it. But once you get comfortable with what's going on, you can just do it by looking at it as well. In the exam, if you've got a bit of time, I would always do that, because it always shows the examiner you know what's going on. Okay, let's have a look at a bit of a beast one then. So here we go then. So this would be a case where to avoid making any mistakes, it would be a good idea to write it out, even if it's just to check what you think just by looking at it. So let's have a go at this one. So I've got 2. I times that by a squared, so a squared means a times a. B cubed means b times b times b. And I'm going to times that by a squared, so a times a. And I've got the b there as well. I'm going to times all of this by 7 times a times b times c. So that's everything written out in its long-winded form. So numbers to the left. So I've got my 2. Done that. And I've also got a 7. So 2 times 7. Done that. No others. So now I'm going to look at the a's, because that's the first one in alphabetical order. So I've got 2 there. So a times a. I've got another 2 there. A times a. And I've got a random one there. So that's all the a's done. Let's have a look at the b's. I've got 3 to start off with. Any others? Yep, there's one there. Oh, and there's one there as well. And then no more b's, but there is a c on the end. So then we can just look at this then. So 2 times 7 is 14. How many a's? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm timesing a by itself 5 times. So we say that's to the power of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 b. So b to the power of 5, timesing that by itself 5 times. And then I just have the c at the end. Now, of course, you can do that just by looking at it as well. So look at the numbers. Do the numbers first. 2 times 7 is 14. I've got 2 A's there, another 2 A's there, 1 A there, so there's 5 in total. B's, I've got 3 there, 1 there and 1 there, so 5 in total, and then just 1 C. So when you get used to what's actually happening, what's going on in the question, by looking at it like this, you can then start to speed up the process of working it out. Right, let's have a look at it in a different context then. So here I have a rectangle, and I want to know what the area is. So to work out the area of a rectangle, it's just the base times the height. So all I'm going to be doing is 3m squared times by 4mn. So I will write it out just to keep it consistent with what we've been doing, but you might already now be happy with this speedy way of doing this. So 3 times m is the 3m squared, times by 4 times by m times by n. Numbers to the left, so 3 times 4, and then I got my m times m, but there's also another one there, and then I have my n at the end. So 3 times 4 is 12, 1, 2, 3 m, so I'm timesing m by itself 3 times, and then I have my n. So the area of that rectangle would be 12m cubed n. And I thought I'd just throw in a triangle here, just to show you how to do this one as well, and also raise 1 point. So remember, to work out the area of a triangle, it's the base, which in this case is 6x squared y cubed, times by the height, which is 4xy squared. But don't forget to half it, guys. So often people forget to half to find the area of a triangle. So I'm going to ignore the half just for now. I'm just going to work out the top. So I need to times those together. So I've got my 6x times x for the x squared, then y cubed, so y times y times y, times 4 times the x, and then I've got my y squared, so y times y. Just change the order, numbers to the left, so 6 times 4, and then obviously alphabetical order, so I've got my 2 x's first, any more, yep, 1 there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I'm going to have 6 times 4, which is 24, x times x times x, so I'm timesing it by itself 3 times, so to the power of 3, and I'm timesing y by itself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, so to the power of 5. And like I said, what most people will do is they will forget to divide that by 2, because remember that's what we're after, is the area of the triangle. And obviously catch my simplifying expressions, dividing variables for more information on that. But quite simply, all we do is look at the numbers and we go 24 divided by 2 will give me 12. And then I'll still have my x cubed y to the 5 as well. But definitely check out the dividing variables video, because it does go into a bit more detail about what to do if there's slightly harder examples. So that's multiplying variables, guys. A bit of a method there, and obviously a quick way once you get comfortable with that method. Hopefully that helps. Thanks for watching.